Hey guys, it's QuickyBaby bringing you another 7.5 patch preview. Now we're looking at the M48, the Patton 3, which is the tier 10 American medium tank. I've played it quite a lot on the test server and I have to say it's quite a beast. Let's check out its stats. Now I think the best way to compare this is to directly look at what the Patton was like at tier 9. Although as many of you will know, the Patton at tier 9 has been nerfed. So let's compare these two tanks. The Patton at tier 9 on the right and the tier 10 Patton on the left. So we can see that it's got a health pool increase, it's slightly heavier and its engine power has decreased ever so slightly, which means that its horsepower to ton ratio will have decreased quite significantly. Its speed limit has decreased slightly by 3 kilometers an hour. And just confirming that its upgraded track traverse has increased significantly up to 50 degrees a second. Its hull armor is slightly stronger at the front, but slightly weaker at the back, but its turret armor is significantly stronger at the front than the Patton was. The view range of the old Patton has been nerfed by 10 meters, and this one retains the old Patton view range of 420 meters. It's got a slightly higher turret traverse and its rate of fire has increased. I'll go into the gun's details more accurately in a second. So let's take a look at the armour of this tank. Well, it looks very much like an M103 body / T110. This angle along the front, its upper plate is quite strong. It's got weak points down the side of the gun mantle of the turret. And as we can see, its MG tower on the top is a giant weak point, and it's very undesirable to have on the Patton as it often uses its gun depression to poke over edges to be able to get shots off on targets. So having that MG tower is going to be detrimental, as I will show you later on in the video. So its rate of fire has gone up to 7.5, and it also can now load APCR, which is a premium ammo type on most tanks. However, this tank can load it for credits, as can be seen there, 1,000 credits for the AP and less for the HE ammo. So this gun has got a faster rate of fire at 7.5 with the same alpha as the Patton had, 390, while its aim time and accuracy has significantly improved. In fact, the aim time on this is 1.7 seconds, which is very impressive. So let me now show you some gameplay footage of this new tank on one of the new maps, 7.5 Port. So Port is a very interesting map. It's got lots of buildings and lots of closed spaces where melee combat can take place. And then also you've got this long corridor or these train tracks in the middle which allow you to get sniper shots off. So just look at the aim time of this tank. It barely has to stop before it can fire. The crosshair barely loses any accuracy while this thing is moving around even at full speed. And when you stop, it's more or less instant to return to its fully aimed status. I do add though that I'm not using optics, I'm using a stabilizer on this tank, so this should be also thought about while reviewing this footage. So the rate of fire combined with the 390 alpha is simply beastly. This tank has one of the highest DPMs in the game. While the penetration increases mean that you can fire at targets at worse angles than before. So here we can see a T110E4, the turreted American tier 10 tank destroyer. Put the first shot into his tracks. We got around the back of him and he can't look at us. So we're going to fire an HE shell into his back, which penetrates for a very high amount. Someone else hit him at the same time, so we don't know. But that's a clear example of using HE ammo to take advantage of the very poor armor that American tanks have, especially at the rear. So there's a big bridge that goes over the port map that lots of people seem to want to try and go over currently. So there we go, firing on the move at the ST1. We're able to hit, but we didn't penetrate. Must have hit a space armor. So the rapid rate of fire of this tank is really noticeable over the Patton for all the people who played it at tier 9. So here we're going to see a good example of how fast this tank can take out targets such as Jagdtigers even frontally through its accurate gun with very high penetration and very low aim time, which allow it to take shots before the other tank may have aimed at it successfully enough to fire off its shell.
He's gone. Find another target.
Track traverse allows you to sneak through even the smallest of passing opportunities.
Looks like that one went right
Firing
through.
on the move at the SD1 or STI, whatever you want to call it.
We nailed it fast.
So you can clearly see that this tank has a lot of momentum behind it. If it works in packs, it can simply roll over tanks, use its agility to get around, out of shot's way, and then use its high DPM to take them down efficiently.
That's gotta hurt.
The increased accuracy means that you can snipe a lot better in this tank.
Enemy vehicle destroyed.
It's an all-round improvement over the Patton at tier 9, and it's a true force at the moment, and we'll see what they do to it in test 2. Although it's a touch slower in a straight line than the Patton at tier 9, its track traverse means that quite often you have to slow down less as you're going around corners, such as you see here dodging around these trains to get back to base to interrupt. And even though its top speed has dropped and its horsepower per ton ratio has dropped slightly,
Penetration.
we are still able to use its efficient speed to get into places of the map to secure the game. So we picked up 3 kills, but we got 1,500 experience and we picked up 71,000 credits. We hit 17 out of 18 targets, of which we also got a Confederate medal because we hit 6 targets that were finished off but we didn't kill them. So we can expect that I think 2 bounced maybe, so we can be fairly sure that we did between 5,000 and 6,000 damage in that game. And it was quite a quick game as well, so that really hits home what the power of this tank is. So let's look now at some aggressive playstyle on Corellia. So with defending, I always like to go to the area around E8. I feel if you can get a medium tank in there to get early spots and you create a choke point, that's the best thing that you can do for your team. So again, although the top speed of the Patton has been nerfed, and its engine power has decreased ever so slightly while its weight has increased, it's still sufficient to reach top speed along flat surfaces, which means that it is mobile enough to react to the situation of the game. So its view range is excellent, which means that I probably see the C-75 before he sees me. We can see that the tank has basically no aim time, so we're instantly able to get a very accurate shot off on him.
Looks like that one went right
And the higher penetration of this gun means that we can easily target the side of his tank. Here I go for a tracking shot on the E-75 and instantly he's down to 20% and stopped dead in his tracks. He's been unable to hit us as well. And they're planting one in his side even though it was angled. On the old Patton, that one would have had quite a high chance to bounce at that angle. So although the gun depression on the American tanks is great, we can see it's not immortal, so to say. Still had to relocate off the hill. So we plant one in the back of the T110E3. We track him. Now we go for his turret. It didn't penetrate his MG tower, so I'm going to try and work the lower plate again. So we've penetrated 2 out of 2 on his lower plate. I'm not going to go for his MG turret anymore. And there's the third one. For a tank that has 300mm of frontal armour, either we got a very high armour penetration roll there, or we found a weak point. So we can see how easy it is to penetrate the lower plate of an E75, even when he's at 45 degrees. And in turn, when he overturns, we can easily take advantage of the side of his armour, using the accurate and quick aim time of the gun. So let's take a look at another example here. We're using the Patton quite aggressively as a forward scout, and its excellent view range. Its gun depression allows interesting angles. We tried to fire one there at the T62A, however we didn't manage to hit him. Notice how many tier 10s there are in this matchup. There's 8 tier 10s. This could be the kind of norm that we see on 7.5. It would be very interesting if that's the case. So here we see an M103 trying to push us. We're able to fire one through the track into his body, and the follow-up shot takes advantage of his weak cheeks and our high penetration of our gun. So this T62 is playing very aggressively. We track him as well. He must have repaired, or he had a high repair crew, otherwise we would have got the second shot off. So he's crippled now. As he makes his run, I was seeing if I could get another cheeky shot off. So here we see what this tank can really do to a Jagdtiger, just like we saw on the other map. Barely any aim time, great accuracy, great penetration, great rate of fire. 3 out of 3, all low rolls though. Fourth didn't penetrate as we hit his upper plate at a good angle. However, we've dug him out of his position and we've crippled him. We can see that the object had some kind of spaced armor there. This is the tier 10 USSR tank destroyer. The object 268 has got very high DPM. If you try and duke it out with that thing, you're going to end up very dead. I want to try and keep it spotted because we have artillery, and I was thinking that's a huge artillery target. Now we see him retreat, but I was too slow to be able to get the shot. So we don't have quite enough gun depression to get the shot there. It could have rolled low. We see how quickly that tank can go backwards there. I'll be doing a review on that in another video. Please check it out. So we fire one AP off, and then I decide to load HE to test out the HE. Bam, straight through the back, doing over 400 damage. That's a real testament to using the HE ammo situationally when you know that you've got a very high chance to penetrate the target with your HE roll and do max damage and probably take out a crew member or at least a module with it. and simply finishing off the artillery at the end. So we can see there that we had another 1.4k game on the regular server and a near 70k credit game. It's very easy to make this kind of experience on a Patton, even though you generally don't have to do that much because of the excellent view range. If you're getting spots, you're earning. So we hit 15 shells, not every single one of them went through, but we can still be sure that we probably did about 4,000 to 5,000 damage in that game. Now let's take a look at another example playing the new map, Serene Coast. We're on the island on the lighthouse that is only available for the north side, which doesn't feel very balanced. But the south side has a very advantageous hill that you can see towards F1. So we were able to penetrate the IS-7 twice there, in very good range. Next we begin to make work of this tier 10 tank destroyer, the new Jagdpanzer E100. I'm sure as this map is played more that people will learn about the locations on the island to avoid. What I'm showing here with the switching that's showing up now is how little aim time is lost when this moves and how quickly it reaches maximum accuracy again, which allows us to snipe things with ease and have the penetration to get through them at the end. So let's finish up finally by looking at one of the downsides. So we're unable to penetrate the T-62A turret. However, he penetrates our machine gun tower and it takes out our commander and our gunner. Now he could have fired heat. I don't quite know how the mechanics works, if that would have more chances of taking out multiple crew members. But if he fired an AP round and took out 2 crew members with that, then that's pretty brutal. So all in all, I fully recommend the M48A1. It's a fantastic tank which is very mobile, it's got great gun depression and its gun is simply incredible. The only downside of the tank is that it's got very weak armor at the back and the sides, and that its machine gun tower on top allows it to be sniped by intelligent players. So thanks a lot for watching my video guys, I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you want to see more 7.5 content, either check out my other videos or think about seeing my Twitch TV account, which has recordings of all the live streams that I did on the 7.5 test server with commentary from the audience. So if this video has been useful to you, please rate it at the bottom, and if you've agreed or disagreed with anything I've said, then feel free to leave a comment, and if you feel so inclined and you've liked this content enough, then think about subscribing so that you can see my future content.